Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa here on France 24. I'm Clarisse Fortuné. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines across the continent. At least 21 people died in Mozambique in post-electoral violence after the top court confirmed long-ruling party Frelimo's victory. Opposition's candidate says October's elections results were rigged. Sudan's humanitarian crisis is getting worse. Famine is spreading and about half the population is in urgent need of food aid. A new report says a greater catastrophe could unfold if the conflict did not end. From the North Pole to South Africa, Santa Claus, or rather Scuba Claus, makes the over 13-kilometer trip to Cape Town for the joy of children and of sharks and jellyfish. But we start in Mozambique, where tensions are running high. At least 21 people have been killed in unrest after ruling party's victory was confirmed in October vote. The top court said the ruling Frelimo party presidential candidate, Daniel Chapo, secured 65% of the vote. His main challenger, Venancio Mondlane, received barely over 24%. But Mondlane says the election was rigged and that a separate count shows he won enough votes to take office.
This is a serious moment in our lives. Either we organize our country now or nothing happens. This is a unique opportunity for Mozambicans. But my friends, the right to resistance is the right of the Mozambican people, Article 80 of the Constitution of the Republic.
And earlier today, we spoke to journalist Armando Nantumbo, who says protests were spreading all over the country.
People are really following him. People are really protesting. They've started it just after the announcement of the result yesterday, because we had the Constitutional Court yesterday announcing the last results. And what we have seen since this announcement is that people went back to the streets. People are demonstrating, people are using violence, people are destroying public and private infrastructures, people are fighting with the authority, with the police. So it's chaos now in Mozambique. This is not only in Maputo. We have a similar situation going on in other cities of the country. So it's a very tense moment. And from Mozambican people, this is the last opportunity to change, the things here in the country. So people are doing everything that they can do because they do believe that this is the last chance to press the authority. This is the last time to press the ruling party, to put more pressure to the ruling party so that we can have some changes here. The opposition leader, Venancio Mondlane, is trying to do is to put more pressure to the new government so that they can have a seat, they can have a dialogue, they can start a conversation on how can the new government take into consideration, what the opposition is saying. So this is what can be done now. Of course, it's a political solution, not a legal one.
And now to this damning report about Sudan, said to be sliding into a widening famine crisis. The UN-backed Famine Review Committee warns a greater catastrophe could unfold if the conflict did not end. The experts says the crisis has been marked by worsening starvation and a surge in acute malnutrition. Famine is now impacting nearly 25 million people, and that's about half the population in urgent need of food aid. This hunger crisis has been caused by the 20-month civil war that has devastated Sudan. Let's listen to a UN representative.
The latest report shows us is that the situation has worsened further, and there's concern that famine has spread in other parts of North Darfur, where there are large displaced populations, and into the western Nuba Mountains. And overall food security looks like it has worsened in the country. So what we're seeing is an unprecedented deepening of the crisis.
And on this, let's get more on this with Jean-Michel Grand. He's the Executive Director for Action Against Hunger UK.
Despite some progress in some regions and countries, unfortunately, there are still around 700 million people who are suffering from hunger, and within that, around 47 million of children under 5 years old were severely malnourished. So we can't say that the situation has improved, and in fact, it has deteriorated. It's worse than 10 years ago. More worrying is that, as we can see in your pictures now, is that severe food insecurity and the risk of famine are on the rise, and starvation is proliferating as a weapon of war. Conflict. First of all, conflict is definitively the main driver of hunger. And in addition to that, we have the increasing impact of climate change, economic challenges, and gender inequalities are the four main drivers. But conflict by far, and we have seen that all over the news, are by far the biggest driver of hunger.
Communities in southern Nigeria are grappling with recurring oil spills that are threatening farmlands and livelihoods. Environmental activists are now ringing the alarm bells and calling on authorities to urgently step up efforts to clean the leaks. Laurent Berstecher has more.
Walking through a ravaged landscape, Ikenka Genesis surveys what remains of his land. 30 acres of once fertile soil where the Nigerian farmer used to grow rice and other crops, but that now resembles a desolate swamp after oil from a nearby pipeline began leaking into the ground.
We've lost millions of naira. There was rice ready for harvest, and in the fish ponds too, it was an harvesting season, but because of the spill, we cannot harvest.
It was the fourth oil spill to affect the region since September. The leaks are usually caused by criminal groups attempting to siphon gas from nearby pipelines, resulting in spillage that contaminates water, farmland, and food. A major environmental and health hazard, which also has a disastrous effect on the livelihoods of local communities. Faced with a lack of urgency by Nigerian authorities, environmentalists are calling for immediate government intervention to clean up the spills.
We are drinking, breathing, and eating hydrocarbon pollution. So life expectancy is affected, livelihood of the people seriously affected.
The UN first drew attention to the issue of oil spills in Nigeria 10 years ago, but despite the creation of a $1 billion cleanup fund managed by the Nigerian government in 2017, little progress has been made to clean up the mess.
Mali bid goodbye to CEDEAO Avenue, or ECOWAS Avenue in English. It now bears the name of Alliance of Sahel States Avenue for the new confederation formed between Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. That follows a decree issued by junta leader Colonel Assimi Goïta. From now on, streets and public squares in capital Bamako are to eliminate references to its colonial past. Mali follows fellow junta rules Burkina Faso and Niger. Niger in October renamed, for example, Avenue Charles de Gaulle, and it's now Avenue Djibo Bakary, a key figure in the struggle for Niger's independence. Now, how to deal with soaring prices on the markets during this end-of-year holiday period. In Cameroon, an association known as Bayam Selam organized a fair selling consumer goods at reduced prices. Fish, eggs, chicken, plantains coming from various regions are sold at least 15–20% less than in traditional markets. Our team in Yaoundé reports.
This year, like every year for the past decade, the Association of Retailers has organized a fair on the outskirts of Yaoundé. Here, people can shop for the end-of-year festivities at reduced prices. 67-year-old Sophie is a mom, and today she stopped by the low-cost fair to shop for her family's Christmas dinner.
We are happy because the prices are affordable. Often we pay 3,000 to 4,000 CFA francs, but if today we can buy at 2,500, 3,000, it is good.
The vendors come from the 10 regions of Cameroon and offer consumer products such as smoked fish, chicken, plantains, yams and onions. Therese says she's delighted to be making sales, despite making less profit because of the reduced prices.
I brought some 20 bunches of plantains. That cost me about 30,000 CFA francs. At the end of the day, I must have made about 10,000 in profit. I spent 30,000 and I earned 10,000. It's good business.
Madame Bilois set up this low-cost fair. She has headed the Association of Women Retailers in Cameroon for 20 years. Members of the association are determined to get more recognition for women retailers in Cameroon.
We were left behind in Cameroon, so we had to create something that would bring together the retailers and other actors in the informal sector. We meet every year in a chosen region. The goal is to feed the population at lower cost.
The next edition of the festival, organized by the Association of Women Retailers of Cameroon, is scheduled for December 2025 in Yaoundé.
Now Christmas is upon us and school is out for the holidays. The opportunities for some family outings, including in South Africa to the Aquarium in Cape Town. The tanks are usually full of sharks, jellyfish, turtles, and everything in between. Only this December, there was an unexpected guest from the North Pole. That's nearly 14,000 kilometers away from home, Scuba Claus.
I think he should still be in the North Pole. I don't think he should be cleaning tanks.
We need to appreciate nature. We need to appreciate what God has done, So we are so excited.
How you have it. Have a wonderful festive season for those who celebrate, and stay tuned for more to come.